They were the
Everyone, welcome back to Threaducation. It has been forever since I've done a style evolution video, and there is only one person I can think of to kick us back into gear. Yes, that's right, this is the style evolution of Lil Uzi Vert. Since bursting onto the rap scene with the debut mixtape Love Is Rage back in 2015, fans have been enamored with the artist's unique aesthetic, and aesthetic is a term that gets thrown around a lot, but here it really does apply. Uzi's identity as an artist is largely defined by a carefully curated image, which includes a unique style of cover art, a carefree, somewhat comedic online persona, and, above all else, an intense love for clothing. Nowadays, Uzi is well established as one of the most fashion-forward rappers in the game, and that's because they respect it as an art form. In fact, Uzi has even gone on the record to say that they're better at fashion than they are at music because they spend more time thinking about and studying fashion, whereas the music just comes effortlessly.
That's still a
That
lot of
said, to get
niggas
to this
though.
point,
That's
it's
crazy.
been a journey. In an interview with GQ, Uzi once said, "I always had a vision for my style, but before I didn't really get it. Even when I got money, my style wasn't all the way there yet, but traveling the world and seeing different stuff, I get it now." So in this episode, I want to track that progression, and I think the best place for us to start is in 2015, because that's sort of when Uzi first came into the public eye, but before the money was coming in boatloads. If you look at most of the photos from back then, that's apparent. The outfits were pretty simple, and there weren't really any brand names. The only real statements Uzi made were with their hair and tattoos, which are two key personal style elements that we'll be tracking throughout the episode. So starting with the hair, you can see that Uzi had short bleached dreads, and in comparison to some of the hairstyles that we'll see later on, this was pretty tame. Much less tame was the array of face and neck tattoos. So some context. Without a doubt, Lil Uzi has been cemented on the Mount Rushmore of SoundCloud rappers. The reason I bring this up is because SoundCloud rappers are notorious for getting face tattoos. Now, of course, they weren't the first ones to do it, case in point Lil Wayne, but there's no denying that SoundCloud rappers took it and ran with it. Well, Lil Uzi played a part in that, and the story behind the decision to get face tattoos can actually tell us quite a bit about who they are as a person. As the story goes, Uzi was just 4 days into their first job ever, stocking shelves at the discount grocery store bottom dollar. 4 days was all it took for Uzi to realize that this wasn't the right path, and they decided to quit. Never wanting to go back to a job that required clocking in and clocking out, Uzi left and immediately got the word faith tattooed on their forehead. On one hand, this was a reminder to have faith, and on the other hand, this was to make sure that no corporate job would ever hire them again. It sounds extreme, but by getting this face tattoo, Uzi was making sure that rap was the only viable career path, so they would have no choice but to focus all of their time and energy on making it work. Thankfully, it did work, but not before getting several other face tattoos. Now, going back to clothing, it was, like I said, pretty simple, but you can see that they were starting to make an effort. In the music video for Super
so hard,
Trunks, Uzi can be seen wearing an off-white Caravaggio hoodie, and in many ways, this was our first hint that they were into high-end streetwear. By the end of 2015, Uzi had made a bit of a name for themselves, and was even named Breakout Artist of the Year by Hot New Hip Hop. Around this time, they were also becoming closer with the members of the ASAP Mob. As Uzi recalls, it was the late great ASAP Yams who first reached out after stumbling upon their music, and from there they grew closer to the group. It's my understanding that this is also how Uzi first became friends with Playboi Carti, which may have played a part in their development of love for high fashion and streetwear. I happen to have a style evolution about Playboi Carti where I go more in depth about his relationship with the ASAP Mob, so if you're interested, be sure to check that out. Anyways, the point here is that Uzi was starting to make more connections, and in 2015 was actually featured on the song What Do You Want, which was produced by Carnage and featured artists ASAP Ferg and Rich the Kid. This was one of Uzi's first big looks, so to speak, and it helped put them in the same conversation as some of these more well-known rappers. And I'll note that in the What Do You Want music video, Uzi is once again wearing an off-white Caravaggio hoodie, which goes to show that their wardrobe wasn't quite as big back then, and that they really had to make use of the pieces that they already had. But if you're going to be around the ASAP Mob, you have to dress the part. Led by ASAP Rocky, the group consists of some of the most fashionable figures in all of hip-hop, so this is when we really start to see Uzi step up their game. In the 2016 music video for the hit song Money Longer, which happens to be about making large amounts of money, we can see some of Uzi's most thoughtful outfits to date. In some scenes, they're wearing a customized denim jacket with a go-yard bag, which ASAP Rocky is known to be a fan of, and then in other scenes, they're wearing V-Lone. I also have a full video on Vlone titled The Downfall of Vlone, where I talk about Uzi and Cardi's relationship with the brand. But for now, just know that it was a streetwear brand founded by A$AP Bari, and for a few years, it basically served as the A$AP Mob's uniform. To me, this is important because it shows that Uzi was starting to pay more attention to clothing, and it was also a reflection of their status in the rap game. Money Longer ended up being the lead single off of the 2016 project Lil Uzi Vert vs. the World, and this was yet another turning point in the rapper's career. The first track of the project was alone evidence of a renewed love for fashion. Titled Canadian Goose, the song is essentially paying homage to the high-end outerwear brand Canada Goose. The project ended up being a critical success and propelled them that much further into the spotlight. And with the spotlight now on them, they began taking a deeper interest in their image. Now with more money, more fame, and more connections in the industry, Uzi had the confidence to step things up a notch. For instance, in the music video for the song You Was Right, we can see quintessential 2016 Uzi.
This is dumb. Anna O'Malley told me about
Nah,
Arcane.
I'm filming.
I had 1 million ads
No,
for this
'cause he gonna be
prior
here
on
for
YouTube, but I never used
Leave.
it, and we
I'm sorry.
downloaded it for
Yeah,
the
leave.
session. And it is dumb.
I love you.
The dreads are dyed pink, several chains are on display, they're wearing a D-squared hat, and as you may have noticed, they also got a nose piercing. But this was just the beginning. As you can see on the cover of Lil Uzi Vert vs. the World, Uzi is pictured with purple hair, and that's because they also decided to dye their hair purple. This is on full display in the now iconic 2016 XXL Freshman Cypher that also feature Lil Yachty, Kodak Black, 21 Savage,
Damn,
and
that's
Denzel
crazy.
Curry. Now, the interesting thing here
What a
is that
moment in
other than
time.
the hair and the Rihanna tour merch, Uzi's outfit in this video is basically the same outfit from the Money Longer video. So it seems they were still recycling outfits at this point. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that no matter what point you're at in your career. This cypher went on to become viral, and it helped further solidify Uzi's position within this new vanguard of rappers. Just months after that, the artist collaborated with the Migos on the hit song Bad and Bougie, and after that, there was no looking back. Up until that point, Uzi had been slowly
Classic.
amassing what I would call a cult following. But after Bad and Bougie reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, they were a veritable sensation and had officially achieved mainstream popularity. By the end of that year, they would switch up their style even more, which we can see in the P's and Q's music video that released on January 1st of 2017. In the video, Uzi's hair is an array of different colors, and to my knowledge, this was also the first time that we saw them change their hairstyle, not just their hair color. In my opinion, this was a pivotal moment because it was our first time seeing Uzi go out on a limb and try something so radical with their image. There were plenty of other rappers with dyed hair and face tattoos wearing designer clothing, but I can safely say that no other rappers looked the way that Uzi looked in the P's and Q's video. Something else we may want to pay attention to here is that this music video was heavily inspired by anime, with some of the scenes animated in that signature anime style, as well as a few scenes where Uzi has those big anime eyes. Now, you might be wondering, what does that have to do with style? But to me, this actually says a lot about style. Uzi is a well-known lover of anime, and this music video was evidence of them trying to become a real-life anime character. That might sound weird, but in a sense, every musician has a public
Arigato.
persona that is essentially just a character that they're playing. Don't get me wrong, they can play that character while remaining true to who they are as a person, and you could even make the argument that it's more true to who they are as a person because they're just becoming the person that they want to become. For Uzi, anime seems to be a key influence, so just keep that in mind moving forward. So just how popular was Uzi heading into 2017? Well, if it gives you any context, they were invited to go on tour with The Weeknd. And in honor of that fact, they released a single titled XO Tour Life that February. In many ways, this song changed everything. I remember hearing it constantly when it first came out. It was everywhere. And unlike Bad and Bougie, this was a solo song, so all of the focus was on Uzi. It was so big that Virgil Abloh offered to direct the music video for it. And that may seem like it came out of nowhere, but allow me to explain. As we've already discussed, Uzi was a fan of Off-White, but what we haven't discussed is that
Off-White
Uzi and
Bye.
Virgil actually met back in 2013, way before Uzi ever became famous.
Go yard.
For those of you who didn't already know, Virgil was also a DJ, and in 2013 he was DJing a random party in Philadelphia that Uzi happened to be performing at. Virgil had no idea who Uzi was, but was instantly intrigued by the artist's unique sound and chaotic energy. From there, the two of them became friends, And that is how Lil Uzi Vert, who didn't know all that much about fashion, became one of Off-White's earliest supporters. So when the opportunity came about for them to collaborate on a music video, it was truly full circle. Virgil also designed the cover art for Uzi's 2017 album Love Is Rage 2, which is why you can see Off-White branded tape cutting through the center of the image. In my eyes, the partnership between Virgil and Uzi marks the beginning of yet another era in this style evolution, one that would be defined by more luxury brands, more piercings, and more tattoos. I'll also note that in 2017, Uzi featured on the song Raph by A$AP Rocky, along with Playboi Carti, Quavo, and Frank Ocean. While Uzi didn't actually make an appearance in the music video, they used their verse to rap about Raph Simmons and Marc Jacobs, once again signaling a shift in attention towards the world of high fashion. The release of Love Is Rage 2 would be Uzi's last project until the release of Eternal Atake in 2020. Along the way, they would of course put out a handful of features and singles, but other than that, it seems like they were just taking the time to live life and focus on fashion. In a now iconic interview at the 2018 Grammys, where Uzi was nominated for Best New Artist, the interviewer begins asking about music, but it seems that all they wanted to talk about was fashion. At one point she asked how they would celebrate winning, and wearing a Balenciaga hoodie, Uzi responded saying, "If I win, I'm just gonna think about everything I'm gonna buy the next day. You know I like to shop." And then, when asked what's first on that list, was quick to mention Gosha's new collab with Burberry, and made a point of saying that they planned to buy all of it. While this interview was funny because of how nonchalant they were being about a Grammy nomination, it did give us some insight on where Uzi's mind was at, and it lent credence to what I said earlier about them caring more about fashion than they do about music. So in 2018, we really did see them step up their style, which was in large part thanks to the fact that they could now buy anything and everything that they wanted to. But make no mistake, this is not another case of someone getting rich and mindlessly buying designer. Uzi really does know what they're doing, and understands the role that style plays in shaping their image as an artist. That said, I believe 2018 was the most tame year in terms of hair. We've been tracking the different colors and styles throughout their career so far, but in 2018, it wasn't dyed at all, except for a brief stint where it was bright red. Well, I guess this was the calm before the storm, because in 2019, we saw some of Uzi's most unique hairstyles to date. To start, they shocked fans by revealing on Instagram that they had cut off their dreads. Then, throughout the remainder of the year, they experimented with several different styles, including loose curls and tight braids. These looks were a bit more reserved than some of the other ones that we've talked about, but they were still unique, and they were still having fun experimenting with different looks. Speaking of which, it was during Halloween of that year that we got to see one of my favorite Uzi looks ever. They dressed up as Frankenstein's monster while wearing a Prada sweater that featured the character's face. And to me, the reason that this is so great is because it combines Uzi's love of fashion with their fun and playful persona. In a genre of music where many artists act like they're too cool for school, Uzi is really a breath of fresh air.
Say this straight up, do not start a business in 2023. Now, you might be saying, what the heck is this guy talking about on the internet? Well, I want to give you 5 reasons why everyone...
Anyways, that brings us to 2020, which, as I alluded to earlier, is the year that they released their highly anticipated album, Eternal Atake. In my opinion, Uzi's style didn't change all that.
When Eternal Atake dropped, bro, the world stopped, bro. I was in, second period environmental science, bro. I look at my phone, bro. That shit was a moment in history, bro. Everybody talking about that shit, bro. That shit was and it was beautiful, bro. Everybody came out, the bell rung, everybody came, bro, Uzi drop, you see Uzi drop, bro? Everybody. That shit was, and then COVID hit. Damn, bro.
Between 2019 and 2020, but 2021 would be a different story. For whatever reason, it seems like Uzi decided that this was the year to push the envelope. Among my favorite fits from that year was this one, where Uzi is wearing a Tom Brown suit with a Daft Punk helmet. Honestly, this was just amazing because it highlights the fact that they literally just do whatever they want. We'd later learn that Uzi was wearing this for a photo shoot with Tom Brown, but rather than taking it off after the photo shoot, decided to wear it around the streets of New York City. Just because. However, when it comes to pushing the envelope, that was just the tip of the iceberg. In January of 2021, Uzi sent out a tweet saying, "I've been paying for a natural pink diamond from Elliot for years now. Crazy. This one stone cost so much I've been paying for it since 2017. That was the first time I saw a real natural pink diamond, a lot of M's on my face." By M's, Uzi was referring to the millions of dollars paid for the diamond. 24 of them to be exact. Yes, you heard that correctly, the diamond was said to cost $24 million. So that answers
That shit's
that.
crazy.
But what did Uzi mean by on my face? At first, no one was quite sure, but then we got another tweet showing the diamond positioned in the center of their forehead. Over the years, we had seen Uzi get a number of different piercings, including nose piercings, ear piercings, and cheek piercings, but getting a diamond inserted was something entirely different. Many people were left wondering if that was even possible, including Uzi's insurance company. Literally. According to Uzi, their insurance company tried to cancel their contract after this announcement came out because they thought that the operation was too dangerous. To calm their nerves, Uzi had to clarify that the diamond was not actually being inserted into their head, it was just being attached as a forehead piercing. Still, many were left wondering how serious this was, because as we've discussed, Uzi is known to joke around. But no, not this time. This was serious. Within a month of those tweets, Uzi debuted what I can certifiably say was rap's first ever forehead diamond. As you may remember, this went absolutely viral because no one had ever really seen anything like this before. When asked why they decided to have this done, they said, "I used to watch the show called Steven Universe, and one of the characters in the show had a pink diamond in his belly button. I didn't have my belly button pierced, so I decided to put it on my forehead. That's my favorite cartoon. It's really that simple." So this is yet another case of Uzi trying to become more like a character, and from a visual standpoint, it was pretty cool. But it also left many people questioning how safe it was to walk around with a $24 million diamond on your forehead. And apparently the answer is not very safe at all. According to Uzi, the diamond was forcibly ripped off by fans while performing in the crowd at Rolling Loud. Fortunately, the diamond was recovered, but it was enough to make them rethink things. In a separate post, Uzi clarified that if the diamond wasn't removed properly, the result could be fatal. So I guess this served as a wake-up call. Nevertheless, Uzi wasn't about to stop exploring new aesthetics, and in 2022, adopted this spiky hairstyle that I guess you could almost call punk or emo. In this photo, where you can fully see that spiky hair, Uzi is also wearing a shirt that prominently displays the pronouns they, them. That's important because Uzi adopted these pronouns in July of 2022, and from that point forward began publicly identifying as non-binary. And look, Uzi's style in recent years has become increasingly more androgynous, and that's the result of continuous exploration and self-discovery. Anyways, Uzi did release an EP in 2022 titled Red and White, but the next full studio album to be released would be The Pink Tape, which was released on June 30th of 2023. On the cover, Uzi can be seen in a pink American flag jacket, rocking the spiky hair, and for the first time since its disappearance, the famous pink diamond. In the trailer for The Pink Tape, Uzi can be seen with long, straight, slicked back hair, and actually donned a similar style at the Rock Nation brunch earlier in the year. But according to recent Instagram posts, it seems that Uzi is now back to rocking short dreads again. And good thing. After seeing Uzi's spiked hair look, rapper Tech9, who once had a similar look, posted a picture of his bald head on Instagram saying, "Trust me, this is how this process ends." Hopefully Uzi doesn't go bald, that would be unfortunate, but for now it remains a key part of their aesthetic. Anyways, that just about brings us up to modern day. Not long after the release of The Pink Tape, they began teasing the release of Love is Rage 3. So I'm very curious to see if Uzi's style will change yet again as the rollout for that begins. To put a bow on this, let me just say that Uzi is, without a doubt, one of the most fly figures in fashion right now. In a recent interview with Billboard, they went as far as saying, "A$AP Rocky helped me with my clothes, but you know, I think I'm flyer than A$AP Rocky nowadays. I think I'm flyer than him. I don't think he could touch me nowadays." That's certainly a bold claim considering Rocky's reputation, but to be fair, I don't think it's outlandish to say. There aren't many people left in music, let alone rap, that are pushing the boundaries of fashion so consistently, and I think it's only right that credit be given where credit is due. Uzi is clearly having an influence on this new generation of rappers and fashion fanatics. For all of the reasons that we've talked about, their fit picks are among the ones I look forward to the most, and going forward, I expect that will continue to be the case. Uzi is always throwing curveballs, and it keeps things exciting. What will be the next diamond in the forehead, so to speak? I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. Anyways, that's just about all for this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed and got some more perspective on someone who I consider to be one of the most influential figures in music. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and be sure to let me know who my next